Welcome to Let's Talk. Here we will focus on the hustle, the juggle, and everyday struggle of small business. We will be here every week talking to small business owners about their everyday struggles, stresses, and ways they have been able to overcome the challenges of running their business. We welcome questions and comments, so please feel free to email us at admin@PlemonsCPA.com. We hope you enjoy, and above all, we hope it helps. Welcome to the hustle, juggle, and struggle of small business. I am your host today, Thalia Williams, and we have in our studio Mr. Tye Washington of S.A. Waterman. And if I'm incorrect, please correct me as you introduce.
So the actual name of my company is The Waterman. However, when I got into the industry, I used my Tye, my name, and people started to call me Tye the Water Guy. A whole nother story, but but the name of my company is actually The Waterman. The
Waterman. And you're based here in San Antonio, correct?
Yes, correct.
So how long have you been in business, Tye?
I have now personally been in the water treatment industry for about 11 years. My business partner has been in the industry for over 35 years. I call him the Moses of water. He is, when it comes to the aspect of, the service repairing, he's hasn't been much of the sales person, but the service repair, he's worked for all of our major competitors. I won't call anybody's name, but all of our major competitors around town through his career. But so we came together and we've existed together for probably about 7 years now. Prior to that, he was doing the service repair on, for his thing. And I was, had a sales company. So we came together and created, a synergy that we've been blessed.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what exactly is the water guy? You mentioned the industry. So let's talk a little bit about that specifically.
So we know we live in an area, and I'm going to talk about San Antonio specifically. We're listed as one of the hardest water areas in the country. That being everybody knows about, lime scale, hard water, those things, where the minerals in the water, the calcium, the magnesium in the water, create an adverse effect on your plumbing and appliances. We have an aquifer, but the municipality is not responsible for removing the minerals. They do a thing where they do treat the water, but it's to lower the contaminants level in the water. But the water specifically here has to do with the mineral content, how high or low it is. And we're on the higher end. Our chart goes to that they give us from the Water Quality Awareness Association. I think the highest it goes is 10.5, is so what they call extremely hard water. Well, mostly everywhere where I test in the San Antonio area, typically test between 14 and 22.
Oh, that's excessively high.
We're off the charts.
Literally.
Just to give you, a little, something to think about. So that's how I, the water guy is, there's another story to that story, but that's what that is.
Okay. All right. So now you say you've been in business 7 years with your partner. And let's talk about some of those ups and downs, some of the hustle, juggle, and struggle you've had. How were you received when you first got into the industry?
I've been received well. And here's my personal claim to fame. I have a passion for education. So I have always wanted to be, not a salesperson, but I like the motto of, even when I train my guys to be an educator and not a salesperson, the byproduct of you articulating, the educational part of what water treatment is, how it all works. That's more beneficial than trying to sell, and look at the sale as the byproduct of you doing your job as the educator.
Like I just learned that we are off the charts when it comes to water hardness.
Yeah, most people know our water here is bad. They don't know how bad it is until you actually can have some analysis done on the water quality coming into your home, and so on city water, it's not as it's bad, but not sometimes as bad as we're dealing with well water, which is a whole nother conversation.
Undoubtedly.
So I've been, for our method, your question about, how we I've been received. I personally made a mission to not be a sales guy, but to be the educator guy.
Okay. All right. So now tell me some of the challenges that your company has had, and we won't even discuss just during the pandemic. We'll just say overall since its existence. What are some of the challenges you've encountered? And give us an example.
So some of my, the challenges being because we're, the market is saturated, for lack of a better term, with alleged water treatment specialists. So they at times can muddy up the water for an opportunity for you and then on the internet or Google can be sometimes our best friend or our worst enemy, because people who want to go out there and research. So the downfall is or challenge is people have read all of this misinformation about water, period, water softeners, or different types of equipment that's in the industry, and people put out all types of stuff. Some of it is legit, and some of it is bogus, and trying to find that happy median for a customer to get them to understand, because by the time you get in front of them, they know more than you do, or they think they do, and now you're trying to fight through what's real and what's not, and to educate them, to convince you that you're the expert and what they read online was bogus. Mm-hmm. So that's been probably some of our biggest hurdle, and not on the repair side as much, but on the new sales side, because everybody, Google, everybody, they're Googling everything.
Yeah, that's the new verb.
That's the everything. So by the time you get an opportunity to talk, they know or feel that they know just as much as you do. So if you knew as much as I do, won't you just call the manufacturer and have them to, create your own specs and have them send you the equipment, if it was just that easy?
Correct.
So that would be my, as far as challenge is dealing with the Googlers out there who get misinformation. So, you said, I had the challenge and we had to overcome it. We deal with it all the time. We're blessed, even in the pandemic. We haven't experienced as much loss as some companies. We've been blessed, and even in the pandemic, but just still where, customers have called in and Googled water softeners, and, we pop up in the high ranking or whatever in their quest for information. And then you book an appointment, and the conversation goes like this. Well, I've been doing some research and found that, XYZ system is better than, ABC. And then I'm listening to their rationale, and I'm saying, they're the same equipment from the same manufacturer. They just have different labels on them.
And they go, oh.
Yeah, the same equipment, just different labels. But there's this misinformation comparing, the ABC to the XYZ system. They're the same. They just have a different label on them. So helping them to understand, breaking that down, like, okay, so here's where it gets muddy. That in water treatment, helping them to understand there are two different technologies. So if you're going to really do research and compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges, technology is what you should be looking at. Water treatment has evolved from just being what everybody knows as a traditional system that just removes the chemicals, or not the chemicals, but the hardness from the water. Water softeners now, they do that They've evolved with high efficiency systems that use less salt, less water, what I call reserve capacity. So they're smart systems. So if you're comparing, you have to know what to compare.
What attributes?
So that would be, when I say, the good and bad of it all is, I'm one of the salespeople. I like to listen, to let them, spit out what they think they know. And then some things say, yeah, you were right not to, make them feel stupid or anything. Like, well, here's what, what you said here, this is what that really means, to give them the education, not to make them feel like they're stupid. Like, yeah, you were right there, but we have to add this, and then it will finish that for you. And now you have the whole totality of what that equipment is and what it's not.
Do you have an example of a client that came armed with knowledge, and when they called you, they were like, this, and this, what can you show or prove differently? And you were able to convince them by that technique and land the job?
Oh, I love, so for me, when I go into an appointment, I love when another competitor has already been there. It gives me ammunition, because once I understand the technology that they're offering, I'll probably say 85 to 90%, if not greater, of my competitors are still using the older technology. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying it's just older. Water treatment has evolved. So when I walk into a house, it's very rare, especially have literature, that I walk into a competitor that is offering similar equipment. So it's easy, and not to tear them down, because I still offer both technologies, but I'm always comparing one to the other, because I sell them both. When I finish explaining how the systems work and, what this technology does and what this one doesn't, what this one is and what this one is not, they have a choice to make, because I walked in with the same technology that this guy has. Now we're comparing apples to apples. Now I have something that's another step outside of that. That's the next level, a high efficiency piece of equipment that's going to save you and your family money over time, using less salt, less water, energy efficient, all of these things, because my competitor left me ammunition and I know exactly what they're selling. So after I go through that piece, like, oh, wow, well, he never mentioned about another technology, even that another something even existed. So we thought this was it. And we love this. But then you shared with us this, we love this more. So it was about the education, because I sell the same technology that he sells. I offer something else as well. So it kind of gives us a little more leverage when I walk into a house, not being able to offer just, what I call a one-trick pony. I can offer that. It's because there are different price points. If that's what you want, I can give you that exactly what, and my warranty 9 times out of 10 is better than what they're offering, even on the older technology.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what failure may have done for you. How have you bounced back from a failure? How has your company managed to survive a failure? And give an example if you could.
So, I was thinking about that last night. I was like, well, I know we've had some failures.
Or hiccups. Some people call them hiccups.
Yeah, hiccups being just not being prepared in for that initial growth, those growing pains that you hear businesses talk about, where when we first started, me and my partner, I was working out of my little car, and he was, he had a truck, and we had a storage facility. So I tell people, my joke is, how you hear about guys selling CDs and stuff out their trunk, and well, I was selling water softeners out my trunk, pretty much. So us coming together, because one of my lack, because I'm not a repair guy. I'm not a service guy. So what I was missing prior to having my partner is the opportunity. I was missing a lot of opportunities because I wasn't a techie or a repair person. But since we have come together, that failure that I was having to turn away customers because I couldn't help them. When I was able to partner with my current business partner, it changed for both of us because we were both having the same struggles. He wasn't a sales guy. I wasn't a repair guy. So we were both missing, opportunities. But once we came together, those things that we call failures or not being in position for that growth, we don't have that now as a struggle because, I mainly handle the sales and marketing, and he handles the service, repair, and the installs, which that's the stuff that I don't want to do anyway. I'm better at, building relationships. And so my initial failure was the fact that I was inadequate in the totality of being able to capture what's all needed in the industry.
Hi, we have Chris Hall here from Pontum Financial talking about the Power 5. Could you brief us on that?
The Power 5 is a group of 5 specific professionals that every business owner should have in their toolbox. It kind of starts off with the financial planner, the CPA, the attorney, the insurance agent, and the banker. So all of those different people are going to serve a different function inside of a person's business or personal life. Most of the time, your business is going to overflow into your personal life either way. But those people operate much like a football team. Everybody's going to have a particular role, but you have to have them communicate with one another, which is usually where we see a lot of balls being dropped. Those people, if they're not sitting around a table advising you and one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing, it can cause a lot of headaches. So we always recommend those 5 people in particular: the CPA, the financial planner, the attorney, the insurance person, and the banker.
Well, if we want more information, how's the best way to reach you at Pontum Financial?
Feel free to reach out to our office. We're right off of 281 in Bitters. Call us at 210-625-4845, or you can follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you can check out our website at pontumfinancial.com. That's PONTEM, financial.com.
Chris Hall is a partner with Pontum Financial and offers securities and investment products and services through Waddell & Reed, Inc., WRI, member FINRA/SIPC. Pontum Financial is a separate entity from WRI.
People measure success in a lot of different ways,
Right. Well, how does your company measure success?
Well, in volume. So success for us is on a monthly basis, the increase in new sales. So to go from when it was just us working out of our cars me out of my car, where we might have been selling 7 to 10 units a month. Now we're going from that, since we've come together and moved from 7 to 10 a month, and now we're doing anywhere from 20 to 30 a month. So success for us is measured in, our monthly growth over, from month to month, as to, now to create, have a baseline average. My goal, if I can average 30 water systems a month, man, now that's a form for this market that would be considered successful, but we're still not there. It's just a baseline for how we could measure that. So we're still, like I said, it's elusive. But we're doing a whole lot better. So we've come from the 7 to 10 range, now to the 20 to 30 range. So we're working more in that range now. And we're still a young company. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're still young. We're, we now have a real brick and mortar office. Yeah, so we moved from, just a storage. We have an actual building, or, we lease a space. I have employees now, and they, like I said, we started with, my car, his truck, and now I believe we have 5 trucks now.
Wow.
So we've been blessed. I mean, that's growth, but the measurement, we were able to do that, only because of the, that growth in the sales part. So the bonus for me, the sales is, what we do, but the bonus for me when I look at everything is that we have a residual business on the backside because we offer the service and repair and the filter changes. So those things have helped us to gain opportunities because of what my partner knows. And, as far as the service part, that we probably now, for the customers in our database, we probably have close to, if not more, we should probably more now than 3,000 customers.
Wow.
That we, if not new sales, these are that we do filter changes for, rebuilds, all water softeners they're not created equally, but there are some that can be repaired. There are some companies that will go and try to, they don't know how to repair them or to rebuild them. So they're, of course, offering a new system where, our thing is that if it's something that there's a piece of equipment that can legitimately be repaired, we offer that. And, the recommendation, of course, would always be a new one. But if everybody's not financially set to, buy a new water softeners aren't cheap. I mean, you get a cheap one, you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. But to get a good professional grade system, you're going to spend a little bit. But some of those professional grade systems can be repaired or rebuilt. Mm-hmm. So that has been the other part of our growth that I'm conscious of, because I market to plumbers. I actually get work from plumbers, as crazy as that sounds, because plumbers, 90% of them, 90% in our market have no clue about water treatment or how to repair a system, how to rebuild a system. They may know how to install them, some not all that great, even when it comes to the install, because the license required for a water treatment specialist is different than it is to get your plumbing license. Mm-hmm. But they kind of still fall under the same thing. So, yeah, so I hope I answered your question. I know I rambled.
That's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
Because that will assist our audience in some way or another, I promise you. So what do you believe is one of the, I'm not going to say ultimate goals, but where do you see the company, this particular company, because we're going to digress a little bit about the other companies you have, but this particular company, where do you see it in 5 years, 10 years? I mean, rumor has a little birdie told me that you're trying to branch out to another city.
Yes. So the long-term objective is I'm trying to posture or position my company to, I'm trying to build a franchisable model, meaning that under the Waterman brand, we offer the water treatment equipment, and we also are getting into the alkaline water store space. Mm. So that's something that we're literally working on now. But under what we do, everything water would, be that what we're currently doing now. Now we're adding to that model the alkaline water store.
Talk about that a little bit. What is an alkaline water store? Because, I mean, I drink alkaline water just because of some of the challenges I've had physically. Mm-hmm. So me and Sam's Club, we're real close, real close, because they offer my bottled water at a price point that I'm willing to pay. And, yeah, I'm adding potentially to the environmental waste because I have plastic bottles.
Right.
But I know the SA water is not healthy for me at all. At all. So I lend myself to go to Sam's Club or Sprouts or whomever and get my alkaline water. So if you're offering potentially this new item, talk a little bit about how that would work.
So, yeah. So having a physical location, so then, Costco's, the H-E-B's, those would, be, now my competitor, because they do sell some form of alkaline or different alkaline waters, where we would, be basically manufacturing, or we will be manufacturing our own alkaline systems to have a fresher, purer product, meaning that there is no shelf life. When you come in, the water is made right there in real time. So, as water sits in, on their shelves and, they're shipped around the country, they're not as potent or strong as they would be if it's made fresh. So the more organic from the source, the better quality that you ultimately will receive as the consumer is going, from, they say, from farm to table. That concept is very popular. So that's what the alkaline water store would do for the consumer, because you don't know how long that water is actually set in HEB or how long that water has set in Costco. But when you walk into our store, you're seeing it is literally happening in real time, and then it's bottled and you take, so it's fresh. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been stored. Mm-hmm. It's real time. So that's the motivation behind the model of to create the model for the opportunity for the franchise. Mm-hmm. Because we know how to install, we know how to service, we know how to repair, and these are things that we do that can be they're trainable or teachable opportunities for franchisees that want to get into the water business. And then the water store, I think all of those sitting under the same umbrella as a brand, being able to offer equipment where people can actually create or make their own alkaline water right in their house. Mm. Having apparatus where you can buy it and we can install it in your home, or if you don't want to go through there, like apartments are great because they can't have equipment in their home or in their apartment. Most of the apartment complexes won't allow you to set up that equipment because of potential leaks. Well, a lot of people in apartment buildings, of course, they still want good water or, the alkaline water. So those are great opportunities where we think that there's a lot of opportunity for that, just helping potential franchisee customers to understand ultimately that they're in the area where the water sucks, as I call it. Yeah. The opportunity in having the alkaline store, the opportunity in selling water softeners, the opportunity in offering whole house filtration systems, and the at-the-counter alkaline or reverse osmosis system. We believe that that's going to be the next move in the industry, because water stores aren't new, but the concept that we're doing is new, having all of those packaged under the same umbrella.
All right. I kind of like that because it's like your one-stop shop.
Pretty much.
Your one-stop shop.
Pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me, if there was anything you could do differently, what would you do, if anything at all?
My belief is that there's a Bible scripture that I have come to be my foundation of everything and who I am. Romans 8:28, and it's for we know that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and are the called. So that scripture, Romans 8:28, you read that. So what I've always gotten out of that is that the good, bad, and the ugly. So in that scripture specifically, the word all has always stood out to me. So all is the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the things I've been through, personally or even in business that I thought was bad, I chalk it up for the direction that my belief is it happened because of who I am and whose I am. My belief there, it was a part of that path to either change a direction I was going. Something happened in there because I personally don't believe that there's nothing that happens in my life randomly. I believe that my Creator has a true plan for me. And because there's a true plan for me in the all in that scripture, it's not going to be a perfect thing, because you have to have the good, bad, and ugly in order to have a testimony. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, the things that you experience, good, bad, and ugly, I learned that it's not really about you. Mm-hmm. What you get out of that, and then able to share, have a testimony that will help somebody else. But it was a part of your process to make you, who you are. Mm-hmm. So the good, bad, and ugly, I embrace. So I probably wouldn't change anything.
Not at all.
I wouldn't change nothing. It hurt. I cried, laughed, all those things. But the older I get, the clearer I get that, man, if I hadn't have went through that phase, I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. If I hadn't went through that phase, I would be here. Things led me from, I'm originally from Detroit. That's my home. But if some things hadn't have transpired there, what I thought was really ugly, it would have never prompted me to move to San Antonio, mm-hmm. which me coming to San Antonio, I have a granddaughter. I mean, it's like, look, I have a business. I have, all these things. There's been some ugly stuff in the middle, but in my world, it wasn't random. It was all structured. There was a plan. There's a moving target always happening, and, just being able to flow with it and being able to receive, like, yeah, good, bad, and ugly happens to us all. Nobody is exempt.
Yeah, the rain.
Nobody gets a get out of jail free card.
Right, because
that only happens in Monopoly.
Because the rain falls on the just and unjust.
That's the Bible.
Yeah,
that's the Bible. So you don't, I talk about Paul and Silas. I think they were in jail, but if they hadn't been in jail, think about the after effects of that. If they hadn't have went, mm-hmm. if they hadn't have been in that situation, mm-hmm. think about what happened while they were there. Mm-hmm. So believers would get where I'm going. If that hadn't happened.
Right. I got you.
The trajectory of the Bible could have been different.
True. Very true. So, last bit of advice. What advice would you give someone who is starting out on their journey in entrepreneurship, or they've been in it a while, like with you, a few years, 7 years, which is still young. But, what advice could you give them, or would you want to leave with them? Because we still haven't talked about your other businesses, and we're just going to briefly mention them. But, that bit of advice, what would you give them? Give them to help them?
I would always, encourage whatever it is that you plan to, invest your time and money behind. You have to be passionate. I mean, you have to have something in you that it doesn't matter, per se about the money. I'm intrigued enough about this opportunity that I want to see it through, no matter what, because once you're clear that the money will be a byproduct of the direction or what you're trying to achieve, all the other stuff will come, because the money is the byproduct. Because you're working just for the money, or as my daddy used to say, if you're chasing money, you forever will be running. Mm. You will always be running. But if you have the passion, understand not the value of the money, but the value in the opportunity that you have. It's two different mindsets, because if you're doing what you're supposed to do, the money will come. It happens. And that's kind of how I posture myself. I moved here to San Antonio and had never seen a water softener except for in Sears. I came here and I was intrigued of how bad the water here was. And I became a student of water. I wanted, like, man, what is going on? And there's an opportunity here. I already love trying to understand this, and I can make money doing this. Mm-hmm. So when I go to a customer's house, it's not I'm thinking about, what I'm going to sell them, my goal is to educate them. If I do my job right, they'll buy.
Sounds good. So now we're going to pivot just a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about your other adventures that you have.
Okay. So, I guess, my nature is, I am an entrepreneur. The water business is one of the things that I'm involved in. I also now own a home security business, a 316 security and automation. Well, what does that mean? Everything that ADT and Brinks does, we offer the same thing at a better price.
Okay.
In short. We also offer air purification. With what's going on, and currently in our country, with the COVID, some people are concerned about their air quality. So we've evolved not from just water purification to air purification. So we offer disinfectant services where we go into homes and businesses and we spray the homes, and we also offer equipment where you can have 24/7, 365. Where we put UV. There's equipment that we put into your air ducts or your returns that will give you purified air as it travels, through your home. So those are the other things, from the waterman, the air purification and the home security. We kind of got involved in that more so because the opportunity was always in our face, meaning that we're already in front of customers. And a lot of my customers, specifically, I get a lot of referral business from realtors, and the opportunity where I'm in front of a customer who's just moved into a house. I was invited there because they wanted a water softener. And then most of these families still need, security. And then now the new thing is the air purification. So they want good quality water, good quality air, and they want their home protected from the outside. So that was kind of how, I call it a natural progression in, where we're going.
So now how can someone get in contact with you? Your phone number, email, website, how will we get in contact with you?
So, of course, you can Google the Waterman and all of that info would come up. But my office number is area code 210-664-1111, 210-664-1111. My cell number, which most people contact me, that way, and I don't have a problem with it. That's 210-379-6909, 210-379-6909. And my website is SA Water Softeners with an S, sawatersofteners.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. Well, we thank you for coming on the Hustle, Juggle, and Struggle of Small Business. We appreciate it. We have been sponsored by Pontum Financial, connecting your financial dots. We look forward to chatting with you again soon. Have a wonderful day. For more information about any of our guests, or if you have questions and comments, please email us at admin@PlemonsCPA.com. And don't forget to check out our website, PlemonsCPA.com, for upcoming events and workshops in San Antonio.
David B Plemons CPA Inc. is providing this podcast as a public service, but it is neither a legal interpretation nor a statement of David B Plemons CPA Inc. policy. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by David B Plemons CPA Inc. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the Hustle, Juggle, and Struggle of Small Business podcast does not imply an endorsement of them or their concepts or any entity they represent. Views and opinions expressed by David B Plemons CPA Inc. employees are those of the employees and do not necessarily reflect the views of David B Plemons CPA Inc. or any of its officials. You should always consult your own investment advisors, attorneys, and accountants before making any decisions concerning your financial matters. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact our office.